have made episodic progress, but not comprehensive progress. Those efforts intensified in recent weeks without resolution. It's led us to this. It is a serious conflict. In a serious conflict, you have to make choices. We have a consistent position. Prevention of Iran obtaining nuclear weapons, prevention of the state-sponsored terrorism that has plagued the Middle East in multiple forms, and support for the Iranian people. And the consequence of that will be determined by whether Iran de-escalates. We call on all parties to protect civilian lives as best as possible in what is a very serious situation.
If Iran chooses not to de-escalate at this point in time and we continue to see a protracted escalation, when you say that you support the U.S. and you support Israel, what could that support entail? Do you see Canada getting involved as well?
Well, look, we have not been party to the military build-up to this or the military planning of this, so it is not envisioned that we would be part of it moving forward. But certainly we have both the Minister of Finance, myself with the President, the Minister of Finance with their counterpart, Minister of Foreign Affairs, I should say, and myself with the President. We've had a series of discussions over recent weeks about the possibility of this happening if the diplomatic efforts were not successful. It's been very clear the threat of what has now been realized in terms of military action. It should have been clear to an Iranian regime which has refused to dismantle fully its nuclear program and continues to pose a serious threat to the region.
As a former central banker, what could this mean now potentially for the commodities markets, and what sort of a challenge does it pose for central banks as well as for fiscal policy around the world?
In the very short term, you get a risk premium in situations like this. You'll get a risk premium, particularly obviously in energy markets, oil markets. There is military activity around the Straits of Hormuz, which is an obvious choke point. It comes at a time. First and foremost, this is about human lives. It's about establishing stability in the region, the will of the Iranian people being respected. That first and foremost. That. When you go back to commodity markets and inflation, it comes at a time when commodity price inflation has been lower. Oil markets have been soft as a whole, so there'll be some firmness and some spike on that, but I don't view it as I view the issue as a fundamental issue of geopolitics, of ending state-sponsored terrorism, ending nuclear proliferation in Iran, and of course protecting civilian lives as much as possible, as opposed to majoring on the economic side, which I don't view as being, in the fullness of time, that material.